Well, Ray, back home in Longford, an indoor facility now here. You must be thrilled to be back home, number one, but to see this development as well.
Yeah, it's lovely to see. I've been following John and Donal and their team here for quite some time now, and it's so exciting to see the energy that they bring, and they really put all the work in here, headed the fundraising, and just scrapped together and got this built. So I think it's great for the youth, and I think there's going to be a lot of good things happening here. And I think they have bigger plans to build a track here too, and I think that we'll see that soon.
So all over the country you see this, a couple of leading lights in a town or a village, and they light the flame, and then you have something like this emerges.
Yeah, I think that's great, and we all grew up in a time where there really weren't any facilities. I think it's nice to see that there's other avenues now for funding that really help generate and regenerate around the country, and to see new tracks now coming to life in different parts of the country. It's a different time, and it's good for the future.
And 40 years since you set that record in July of 1982, the Irish mile record and the 1500 metres record. And we were up today at St. Michael's School. What was it like going back to school again?
Yeah, it brings back a lot of memories to the national school that I went to, and to listen to the questions from the young boys about running, and to see their excitement for running. Look, it's very, very nice to be back here. And yeah, 40 years is a long time to hold the records. I never thought at the time when I ran back then that we would be talking, those records would still be in place. And yeah, it's amazing.
And it's been a long journey, as you explained to the children today. You became first East Tennessee State University, where we both soldiered together, and then became a professional athlete for 10 years. And tell us what you're doing nowadays.
Yeah, so it's been a journey, and of course I was fortunate to get a scholarship to go to college in America and to get an education there, and run professionally then when I finished. Had great experiences just running races, and have been fortunate to build a business then as a sports agent in sports management, managing the careers of many top athletes around the world. And so I have a fun career that I love, and I'm headed to the Berlin Marathon from here this Sunday.
And of course you're the race director as well for the great Millrose Games.
Yeah, for the last 10 years I've been the meeting director for the Millrose Games in New York City, and I love it. It's where I ran when I was young in the Wanamaker miles, and so I have a very close bond and love for that event, and indoor running. And so yeah, it's exciting, and then to see some of the Irish runners come over, and in fact tonight we're going to have Dermot McDermott and the fastest kid in Ireland, competitions, where we invite them to come to Millrose Games with their families and recognize them running against other top children. So yeah, it's lovely, and yeah, it's great to see the excitement in the young kids.
I've been to the Millrose Games, I've seen that happen, and it's really, really exciting for both the two young kids that are picked and their parents to come as well. So it's absolutely brilliant. Well, looking at the track here, Ray, and your era and where we are now, new tracks, new shoes, has that made a big difference to the times we're seeing now?
Yeah, 100%. I think that better facilities, better products, and the shoes now I think are really revolutionary too, that they're making in the high performance. Athletes can run faster, and we're seeing records getting broken all around. So look, it's good. It's natural. There's an evolution in everything around us, and sport's no different. So it's great to see that the children have the facilities, the athletes have the facilities, the better shoes to run in or play football in, whatever. But look, if it gets them active, it's a good thing.
And what sort of an edge would you say the shoes particularly are giving an athlete today, a top class athlete?
Yeah, I think right now in professional running that it's making a difference of at least a second lap on the fast shoes now. So it is revolutionary. But you know, you could go back in time and say, well, when Jim Ryan ran, you know, 3:51 in Bakersfield in 1961, you know, on the cinder track, you know, he was probably way ahead of his time, you know, because imagine if he was running on the faster track with the faster shoes. So look, it's natural, and times change, and everything gets broken eventually, and it's temporary.
And were you impressed with the recent performances of Irish athletes, particularly at the European Championships?
Yeah, the European Championships for Irish athletics was great to see the success of so many of the Irish athletes, and it augurs really well for the future. And I think it gives great encouragement to Athletics Ireland and to the up and coming juniors and next generation of athletes in Ireland too. But yeah, it was great to see the many successes. You know, notably, you know, Mark English and Ciara McGeehan and others. So it was exciting.
And of course, you've always been a great supporter since we started of the Daily Mile, and you saw it in action today. So would you like to encourage other schools to take that up now around Ireland?
Yeah, so I noticed that the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon this year, that they had taken up the Daily Mile even over there. So I think that that's a global initiative now. Look, we need encouragement to get kids more active, because there's so many other you know, pulls on their lives, you know, away from sport. Just being more active. So something structured like a goal of a Daily Mile is a perfect goal for kids, whether they even walk it or run it. So I encourage people to walk too, because not everybody can run fast. And so you know, walking a Daily Mile would be a great thing for not just children, but even their parents and their families.
And you still run yourself?
Yeah, I get out 4 or 5 times a week, and so I'm going to run the mile tonight with that we have here. My sister's coming down. I want to run with her and her kids. So yeah, I love running still.
So it'll be a family night, and your mum is also here in Longford.
My mom's still alive. Yeah, she's not in great health, but she's doing well, and I come back and see her as often as I can. It's been 3 times this year I've been here. So, but she's well taken care of. My siblings do a great work looking after her.
And if you look back in it right now, I remember you started here in Longford. I remember you coming to America. You found it difficult enough in your first year in East Tennessee State.
Yeah, I did struggle, but you know, I was 17 years old, and I also think that, you know, back then anyway, the volume of work was so harsh and significantly different and challenging from what I would have been used to. That was, I think, the hardest challenge, because you know, America at the time, the coaches were very structured. I was probably running 30 miles a week back in Longford. Then it was straight to 100 miles a week there. So it was like sink or swim, like a boot camp. So thank God I survived, and I got better for it. So it you know, I'm not critical of it, because I think it made me better, but it was not easy.
Is it still a good pathway for an aspiring young Irish athlete?
I think absolutely it is. I respect and understand the opportunities that are now here in Ireland. There's excellent coaching and great facilities, but everybody isn't going to be able to access all of that. The wonderful thing about America, it's a huge country. There's so many different avenues to succeed, and they are very welcoming to young Irish boys and girls who want to come, who are good enough, and it's a great platform and competitive arena to be a champion.
So it must be heartening to come back to Ireland and see new facilities and a big uplift as well of participation in athletics through all the clubs.
Yeah, but so that is great, but you'd also agree then, you know, you have increased obesity among people and even children. So we have to get kids exercising, and it's not just excellence. You know, we like seeing the top end, but the facilities hopefully will encourage the public and their families to become more active, because that should be a goal for everybody too.
Yeah, that's the pathway of the daily mile that we're trying to achieve as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
If you were to look at going back, your sweetest moment in athletics, what would that have been?
I mean, in hindsight now, you know, it is the mile in Oslo in 1982, because, you know, I always dreamed of you know, running under 4 minutes for the mile when I was young, and then to run under 3:50. It was a very exclusive group. It was at the very highest level. I never won a medal in the Olympics. I was probably a better record runner than a championship runner, but I think that the mile in time, especially now, its endurance of how long it showed it was an excellent run, and I think I have the most pride in that race.
And of course, the night in Belfield as well, 4 by 1 mile.
Yes, I was part of a generation of great Irish runners from after Delaney, but with people like Eamon Coughlin and Frank O'Mara and Marcus O'Sullivan, and we became very close. Even though we were competitors, I think we drove each other, and we set the world 4 by 1 mile record in 1985 in Dublin, and I think it's sort of brought us closer together as friends, even as we've aged. Just looking back on that record, which still stands.
Yeah, and what a record it is. It's stood the test of time as well.
Yeah, there's been some significant hits at it lately, but none of them have succeeded yet.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you home, and it's great. We're going to have a great night here tonight with Dermot McDermott's Fastest Feet.
Yeah.
And you're going to run the mile back again, so you're kind of coming full circle. Irish athletics, if you have any, to all the young athletes coming up, if you have one final message for them.
The one final message would be patient. You know, stick with it. It's not an easy avenue. Everybody, you know, have their own challenges along the way, but they have great facilities here. They have great opportunities and funding, and so just believe and patience. You know, but you don't have to stay at it forever either. You know, if it's not working out. I mean, there are other. I think that. Health is important as well. I mean, we live in the high performance world, but running for health is important too.
So it all begins with the motivators, and you had a couple of great ones in your early days.
I did. I was very fortunate, and you know, those motivators are living among us. You know, whether you live in Ballyhaunis or Longford or Kerry or Dublin, there are teachers, there are PE instructors. People who maybe weren't so successful themselves as athletes, but have great insight, and if you listen to them, they can help your career.
Thank you, Ray, and welcome home.
All right, thank you. Thank you.